Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is January the 11th, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. I'll start off with a little bit of a fun little story. So, I was on my insomnia stuff. I was, up early for the sun, and I was like, okay, like I'm gonna do my thing. And this is like a classic thing for me. Sometimes is like usually right around like 4ish or 5ish. My body will be like, okay, we've been up for another hour or so in the middle of the night. Let's go to sleep. It's like, yeah, this is a great compromise. I'll take a nap. I'll wake up, go to work. I won't feel great, but I'll feel fine. My body will catch up. So I was doing that, and I'm drifting off, thinking I'm gonna get a little cat nap, about an hour. And then I wake up, and the feeling when you wake up and you're like, you're out of step, you're out of time, but you don't know how to explain that to yourself as you're waking up out of your sleep. And that was what's happening to me. And I think it was because I noticed it was a little bit brighter than it should be when I'm waking up around the time I should be for work. And that's when I realized, oh, Isaiah, on your day off, you didn't set your alarm back on. Like normally when I toggle it off, it says, hey, do you want to set it back for the next day? And I thought I hit that, and I didn't. So all three of my alarms were just off, and I felt like a big old rube. But luckily my job's pretty cool. You have PTO and all that kind of stuff. They'll just drain that instead of giving you any kind of points or anything like that. Also, it was kind of a funny irony that my supervisor was also late into work today. So, nice little divine balance there. So that was good. That worked. And overall, the day was good. Really feel like my vibes have been good lately. I really like that. I like where my head is at for the most part. And that's always good, right? As you're starting a new year, going through it and everything. Let's see here. Food Corner. Food Corner was actually pretty good. I decided to have pizza day a little bit early because I was worried about the weather. It's looking like it's going to be a little bit of a windy, rainy, sleety, I don't know, kind of bad weather situation this weekend for us in Ohio. So I was like, okay, let me just actually have pizza today. So I had pizza last night, and I had the Philly cheesesteak pizza, and then I had a pineapple and pepperoni. I was about to say peanut butter, which my crazy ass would probably try that at least once. Yeah, it was good. It was yummy. Hit the spot. So yeah, there's that. Now we're all caught up on my Joneses. Let's see here. I'm gonna go ahead and do my startup, and then we'll get into some news. Also, I did wine it up today. I went ahead and actually got some wine after work, along with some beer. This wine, I gotta say, maybe I'm starting to really develop a little refined palate, at least for this cheap shit. Because I got the 19 Crimes again, or whatever the fuck it was, and this was the one with Snoop Dogg on it. And last time I had it, it was like, oh yeah, this was good. This time I'm having it, it's still good, but I noticed that I'm like, I don't love it as much as some of the other ones. The Prophecy was much better. Oh man, so maybe this is my path. Maybe I'm becoming a wine snob, so slowly but surely. Maybe someday you'll catch me on a $50 thing of wine, and then so on and so forth. Wouldn't that be funny? Wouldn't that be cute? Whew. Okie dokie. Now, I've been debating because this is a bit of side news before we get in the main. Some politics stuff. This is a big election year. Not just for America, but worldwide. There's so many elections, and there's gonna be so much stuff I'm gonna be missing, and that kind of sucks in some ways. But I also don't want to bore you guys with every little detail of every little thing, especially when it comes to American elections right now. Let's see. I know that there was a debate between DeSantis and Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley. I got to level with y'all. I didn't even watch it. I did not even give a fuck this time. I'm like, bro, this is so cooked. You guys are both losers. You're literally going to be battling for fucking second place here. But yeah, they went ahead and debated. I looked at the highlights. Not much to really talk about. They just kind of did a little bit of mudslinging, but nothing up their stock. And it was just the two of them. Vivek wasn't even invited. Chris Christie didn't even invite his roly-poly ass. And not to mention, Chris Christie did a town hall. His ass is fucking out now. He's done. He's cooked. He realizes that he is never gonna fucking make it happen. So good for him finally realizing that and, getting out while at least the goodness, I guess, somewhat good, whatever. They got him on a hot mic saying that, like, Nikki Haley doesn't stand a chance or whatever. She's going to get smoked or something like that. I don't know. Sure, I guess, but all y'all motherfuckers was going to get smoked. All y'all motherfuckers are not him. You are not the big orange man. You know this. Speaking of the big orange man, he's, in so many trials. He's literally turned it into his stumping campaign grounds. In one situation, he's doing closing statements. And literally the judge was like saying, hey, I'm not going to give him closing statements. Like, he was supposed to abide by these set of rules. He wouldn't do it, so I'm not going to give him it. He turns around and says, hey, I'm going to throw you a bone, actually. I'm going to give it to you. And he's like, you guys are doing a fraud on me. And it's like, dude, this is what happens when you let this man open his mouth. In other situations, he's appealing shit, saying, like, hey, I have, like, presidential immunity. Like, you guys can't get me for any of this shit. This is literally not allowed. Not to mention, I didn't even do anything wrong. So that's a fun defense that he's mounting. Literally to the point of, like, his defense is saying, like, we could, like, mount a defense of saying, like, hey, he could, like, do political assassinations and he would be protected. And then I think they realized that was too hot. And they've narrowed it down to saying, oh, well, he has this kind of immunity unless he gets impeached and then also, like, tried by the Senate or something or whatever. And it's just like, I'm not really giving you guys this news, like, full-fledged, because if you're aware, if you've been paying attention, you realize this is just stall tactics. Like, at the end of the day, Trump is trying to run the fucking gambit here of saying, look, I'm never really going to actually do the full trial from end to end, at least on any of these relevant ones, because I'm going to win the election and I'm going to just fucking wipe the slate and then we're all going to be Gucci bands. That's Trump's plan here. You know what I mean? So he really doesn't give a shit. He's willing to say, yeah, I am God Emperor. Why the fuck not? I feel like one in my mind. I might as well be. So yeah, I mean, I'll definitely make an actual read an article about it if they actually overturn it, which would be so crazy if they say, yeah, actually you're right, you do have star power. You are literally a Mario Kart character with star power. You can do whatever the fuck you want, man. Go off, go nuts. Okay, anyway, all right, now let's just get to the news. I know I've prattled on. From the AFP, Israel faces Gaza genocide charges at top UN court. This is another thing I kind of talked about. I gotta say, Alan Dershowitz didn't look like he made the legal dream team for Israel. I will keep you posted. I know they're going to be launching their rebuttal, their statement tomorrow, but essentially South Africa opened up with their accusation today. So yeah, that's what we're going to get into here. South Africa on Thursday accused Israel of breaching the UN Genocide Convention, arguing that even the deadly October 7th Hamas attack could not justify such allegations, as it launched a landmark case at the top of UN court. So yes, it looks like they are preaching to the fucking choir, because that is what a lot of people in the international community have been fucking saying, dude. Pretoria has launched an urgent appeal at the International Court of Justice, or the ICJ, to force Israel to immediately suspend its military operations in Gaza. Now, by that phrasing, force Israel to immediately suspend, what they really mean is here that they're going to have this trial, and if the ICJ rules in favor of South Africa here, then they're going to make this statement, and Israel can then say, okay, cool, because they've both signed this saying, hey, we aren't going to do fucking atrocities here. We're not going to fucking, do genocides and things of that nature. We made this decision after the Holocaust and we mean that shit. But essentially Israel can just say, okay, and then just keep doing what they're doing. Keep doing the bombardments, keep doing the fucking killing, keep doing the fucking, ethnic cleansing. They can just keep at it. They don't have to actually abide by this. No one fucking does. For good example, Russia has been taxed and charged not, to stop what you're doing, stop this invasion, pack that shit up, go home. This is illegal. They're still obviously at it. So I do want to kind of add that grain of salt, I guess, to this. But that being said, it sends a strong message here. And I obviously appreciate South Africa for saying, look, we of all people, because, the people who've brought this case, are the type of people who've had to overcome actual apartheid. And that's the kind of apartheid that we are kind of talking about that's going on between Israel and Palestine right now. So, I mean, there's a lot of, correlations that you can take with. Now, granted, Israel's rebuttal is like, oh, this is preposterous. This is literally atrocious and preposterous. And they're saying, no, we have a defense. And literally, I believe the defense is going to be that we have a right to defend ourselves because of what happened on October 7th, that we were targeted here, and what we are doing is a targeted response. And even though that you guys disagree with us, we feel that the spirit of Hamas is alive and well in Gaza, and we have to eliminate it. We just have to. And until we at least get the top officials, or we have enough of a number or something that makes us feel good, then we're going to keep at it. And this is just our mission. And I mean, that's crazy, obviously, to me. But that is the conversation at hand here. South Africa argues Israel is breaking its commitments under the UN Genocide Convention, a treaty signed in 1948 in the wake of the Holocaust. Top lawyer for South Africa, Adila Hassim, said Israel's bombing campaign aimed at the destruction of Palestinian life and had pushed Palestinians to the brink of famine. Genocides are never declared in advance, but this court has the benefit of the past 13 weeks of evidence that shows incontrovertibly a pattern of conduct and related intention that justifies a plausible claim of genocidal acts. Which, I would say I agree. Yes, that is my stance, and I guess you can say the stance of the podcast. There you go. There was a retort by Lior Hayat, of Israel's foreign ministry, describing South Africa as the legal arm of Hamas, which is just dude, that's crazy. They literally, in South Africa, they knew in their defense that they literally had to do the thing that I've been talking about before when this shit happened, where you have to literally come out and say, look, Hamas is bad. This party does not support terrorism. We do not agree with it. The acts of that day were bad. It was not good. And then you have to then say, hey, now this is the problem at hand. This is what Israel is doing. Which, of course, then Israel goes, oh, well, we're not hearing you. No, you're actually helping the enemy. You're the bad guy, too. And I hate that that's a defense that actually works for people. Also, I hate a defense that works for people is that it's okay to kill kids because they're being taught by Hamas. And because of that, they're terrorists too, by proxy. Really, everyone's a terrorist there. You know what I mean? It's just a part of our defense. I'm sorry, we have to do this. It's crazy. It's crazy to me that people actually have that stance. And they're willing to actually just put that up, on air, on the BBC, wherever the fuck. It's insanity to me. So, I feel like that's where I want to leave it. Was there anything else I really wanted to add here? No, we're good. We can run on to the next thing. We got another update for you from Business Insider. Alaska Airlines cancels hundreds more flights in wake of Boeing 737 MAX incident. Now, this was a plane incident that I talked about where the fuselage fell out, and essentially it was this door plug, which I should explain that now that I know a little bit more here. Essentially, the way that the 737 MAX 9 is set up is it has multiple doors that you can get out in case of emergency or what have you. But based on the amount of capacity that you intend to transport as an airline, if you have a low enough number capacity, you can actually just say, we don't need this door. We just need these other doors, and you can just board this one up. We don't even need it. And you don't even you can see it from the outside, but you can't even see it from the inside the way that it's paneled, the way the airplane is paneled. So essentially this was a superfluous door. Didn't matter, wasn't supposed to matter. But pilots were noting when they were flying the plane, hey, we're getting these weird air pressure warnings. That's odd. It's weird. We don't really know why. They would take it to get serviced, and they're like, we're not seeing any problem. We're not seeing any issue. More or less, I think it seems fine. And, they went on their merry way. I think it takes so many, like so much flight miles before you actually, are going to do a full maintenance overhaul. It wasn't due for that. These were new planes. Like they came out like 2 months ago. But essentially what the problem was this door, and either from kind of loose bolts or some kind of manufacturing thing, no one's really sure yet, but that's part of the investigation. It caused this door to just poof, pop open. And next thing you know, kids losing their shirts, air masks are out, people are potentially dying. If they had gotten to, a high enough altitude, that could have literally just been a lights out situation. And that would have been the third time this has happened from Boeing. So yeah, I mean, it was kind of ironic. Well, maybe not. Well, a little bit ironic, yeah, because I was listening to this podcast, American Greed. They cover a lot of scams and frauds and things of that nature, and they do corporate stuff too a lot. And they talked about Boeing and the two that had happened previously before this incident. I'm like, gosh, that's so crazy. That reminds me. It's like, shit like this isn't just an accident, right? Because I kind of made it like that, right, when I was talking about it last. So it's like, this can happen when you're driving. This could happen when you're flying. Like, that's why there's recalls. The companies make mistakes, humans make mistakes. But it's another thing, and I've talked about this again, where you just say, sometimes it gets so bad that it really is criminal. And like, it's crazy to see some of these like alt-right motherfuckers like talk about this kind of issue and try to say, oh, this is actually like a DEI issue because like, they were diversity hires on the plane and maybe it's actually the pilot and not the plane. And it's like, riddle me this, Batman. Maybe it's actually Boeing not giving a shit and just cracking the whip on their engineers, and then not just the engineers, but the people who actually manufacture the shit from top to bottom, and just saying, we actually value our shareholders more than anything else. So fucking get these fucking planes wrapped up and together and to the motherfuckers. You know what I mean? This has caused deaths before. It would not surprise me if it's caused them again. Now, granted, this is me doing speculation, but you can also add the fact that when they actually took these planes down after post-grounding them and looking at them, they found more loose bolts. And that to me was like chilling. That to me was just like, yeah, dude, like, I think Boeing is on their same fucking bullshit, dog. And that's crazy because we talked about Boeing a lot this week. We talked about Boeing in terms of the Alaska Airlines shit. We talked about Boeing in terms of trying to go to the moon. They're part of that collaboration project. You know what I mean? So, it's a shame that these people who are involved in the aeronautics, the shit that like gets us from point A to point B in the goddamn sky, kind of give more of a shit about, them, the top 1% making all their fucking money, and don't really give a shit about any of us kind of, living or dying on said apparatus. So yeah, we'll leave it at that. I just kind of wanted to update us on that and maybe, say a little bit more about what my piece is about when it comes to Boeing and planes and the Max. I can't believe you brought that shit back. It's crazy, man. Okay. The next couple we got is an Ohio bundle. So this is for the locals, but we're talking about big issues. That's how you get on this podcast. You gotta be fucking either doing some great shit or terrible shit. And sadly, Ohio is kind of doing some terrible shit here. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's carve it up. From Reuters. Ohio House of Representatives overrides veto of bill banning gender affirming care. So this is tomatoes on my own town, my own state. Fuck us. Ugh. But sadly, this is our Ohio. Ohio's House of Representatives on Wednesday voted to override the governor's veto of a bill that bans gender-affirming healthcare for minors. One of dozens of bills under debate this year that would restrict transgender rights across the U.S. Let's see here. Also, I do actually like that Reuters kind of touches on some of the bills that are being brought up and have been brought up, because it's really some crazy draconian shit that even I wasn't even hip to. One Florida bill would require all driver's license applicants to sign affidavits attesting to their sex at birth, and another would classify some allegations of transphobia as defamation, carrying statutory damages of up to $35,000. But yet you have to tell me what your fucking gender is, because I need to know, and it has to be what you are assigned at birth, or I'll explode. That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. And I hate that we're just racing with like states like this. Despite the fact that like literally the overall medical consensus is that this is better for you as a person to have the ability to express yourself and your identity and not suppress it. But okay, here the fuck we are. And I thought DeWine, came around. He was on his moderate tip. He had realized, but he did the thing like I kind of call it like pulling a fucking Abraham Lincoln, because it's a situation of like, oh yeah, no, I realize that like this is a bad thing. Like slavery's bad, dog. But then you realize like, oh wait, I might be responsible for like the succession of the Union, and that would make me look like a fucking bad guy. Oh wait, please guys, I actually like will let slavery live on forever. Please, I'll suck your dick. I'll do whatever the fuck you want. You can like wear the top hat, please, please don't leave. Like, so it's like, why did we lionize that guy? Because he just was tall and cool looking? Like, no, at the end of the day, that's bad politics. Like, you should have fucking held frame, fucking pussy boy. Anyway, transgender rights advocates I'm not talking correctly. Transgender rights advocates initially praised DeWine. Me too. I was giving him flowers. But last week he issued an executive order curtailing transgender healthcare that appeared to be an attempt to stave off a veto override, and has been criticized by transgender advocates as imposing more extreme restrictions than the bill contained. The governor said at a press conference on Friday he was concerned over advertising from fly-by-night clinics that might be profiting off of transgender people without proper training or oversight. Whatever the fuck that means. Let's see here. New transgender Ohioans are facing the possibility of a restored legislative ban on gender-affirming healthcare, plus the additional restrictions in DeWine's executive order. The executive order requires that even adult transgender people must have a comprehensive treatment plan prescribed by both a psychiatrist and an endocrinologist that is then reviewed by a medical ethicist before receiving services. The executive order would not go into effect before a public comment period ends on February 5th. And it's like, this is the shit that always starts. It always starts like this. We saw this primer template from like when we were talking about being homosexual, being gay, where it's like, don't you understand? Don't you understand? Don't you see? We just want to protect the kids. We don't want to confuse the kids. Don't you understand that we're just trying to protect them? We don't want to overwhelm them. Don't you understand all this identity stuff? All this, it's just too much. They don't get it. And then once you get your little bit of fucking toehold on that issue, then you level it all the way up and say, well, we just don't like it. We just don't think it's okay. We don't think that anyone should do it. And you just evolve the thought until you've boxed the whole conversation out. And once again, now it's like, see, you can't say that I'm being a bad guy. You said I was a bad guy for calling out your identity, your gender. You actually owe me money now. Like, it's just crazy how warped and twisted the conversation can become, all because people want to make some fucking political ass fucking points. And it's grotesque. It's disgusting to see these politicians just like cheering and waving and jerking themselves off about this shit. Like, fuck that. Fuck these people. So yeah, tomatoes for all of them. Let's see here. I do have some more to read. I do want to try to get as many of these points as I kind of can here. The World Professional Association for Transgender Health, or WPATH, recommends transgender people receive comprehensive assessments from a multidisciplinary team of medical professions experienced in transgender care before starting hormone therapy or graduating to surgery. But WPATH President Marcy Bowers said DeWine's order arbitrarily erects barriers and delays to care for a vulnerable population, and that the required involvement of a medical ethicist was unprecedented. So essentially, they're saying, it's like, look, DeWine's kind of using this logic in a way that's against actually helping people, which is something I totally fucking agree with. And I also fucking hate that DeWine's trying to say that, oh, I was trying to do this. I was trying to make this worse to like give you guys something so that like they wouldn't just veto it. Like, no, dude, fuck off. Like, you're a part of the problem at the end of the day, man. The least you could fucking do is hold frame on this issue, and he buckled. So fuck him. Fuck them both. Fuck them all, man. So yeah, I just, this was an important update, and I wanted to, put some light on it. It sucks that it's not just a state issue here, that this is something that's happening throughout all of America. And not just to mention, it's a worldwide conversation, because you see internationally, other countries see what we do and like they export that. They take that in. And it's a shame that this toxic ideology gets moved over to other conservatives. You know what I mean? And they just use it to. It's like the only thing that we're really good at exporting, man, is fucking vibes, dude. Dark fucking shitty vibes covered in glitter shit. I don't know, man. All right, let me take my last break. Like I said, this is an Ohio double whammy. So yeah, it's Ohioan. It's a bit better, but I'm not gonna be smiling all the way. That's for sure. Okay, from ABC News. Grand jury declines to indict Ohio woman facing charges after she miscarried. So yeah, silver lining is that we didn't do some draconian shit. Hooray. Hip hop fucking hooray for that. But crazy that we put a woman through this kind of hell. But let's get into it. A grand jury decided Thursday not to indict an Ohio woman on allegations that she mishandled the remains of a fetus after miscarrying her pregnancy at home. The case had alarmed reproductive rights groups and legal experts who said there's no clear guidance on how to handle an at-home miscarriage, and that police and local prosecutors overreached by charging the woman, who is black, with abuse of a corpse. Like, they tried to, like, that's some crazy shit to me, man. Like, this is your fellow human being who's going through maybe potentially one of the worst moments of their life. You're saying, man, that's crazy that you would desecrate a body like that you would, like, do that. Essentially just trying to do whatever because you think that they're trying to have an abortion. Like, it just fills me up with so much. But Brittany Watts, 34, of Warren, was arrested last October and pleaded not guilty to the charge. If convicted, she would have faced up to a year in prison. Because the grand jury decided not to indict, the case has been dropped. So like I said, this is silver lining. I'm glad that the jury here, they said, hey, this is not a case. This is fucked up. Just stop. And it stopped. But yeah, according to the Trumbull County Coroner's Office, Watts' water broke last September when she was 21 weeks and 5 days pregnant. A fetal heartbeat was present, but her doctors at Mercy Health, St. Joseph Warren Hospital, recommended that Watts be induced to prevent a life-threatening infection from developing. At the time, Ohio allowed up to 22 weeks gestation or later if a woman's life was at stake. But who knows now that, the new abortion bill has taken into full effect. We've covered a couple of situations that were very harrowing, very dicey. So who knows what would happen now, which is part of the reason why I'm covering it and saying it with the lens that I'm saying it. It doesn't feel like good news, man. The coroner's report said Watts then signed herself out of the hospital against medical advice to process the information she was told, which is her fucking goddamn right, by the way. She returned to the hospital the next day, but again left a second time against the advice of doctors. Let's see here. 2 days later, Watts delivered the fetus at home over a toilet. She then returned to the hospital where she told authorities she might have taken the fetal remains out of the toilet and placed them in a black bucket, which I hate here because you have to understand, and I feel like it makes more sense if you've ever seen it or experienced it from like someone where like all of a sudden the people who are supposed to be providing you healthcare are now becoming like observers, potential witnesses to a crime that you've committed. When please understand, this is the process of life, and now you are dealing with a fucking shitty situation where it's not that, it's not being completed, and you had to deal with, once again, a harrowing, terrible moment in your life, and now the people who are supposed to be providing you health care are now trying to get you jammed up. This is like a bad fucking Orwell book or some fucking shit, man. What the fuck? But yeah, the fetal remains were found wedged inside the toilet bowl. I know, I'm sorry, this is a bit gross, a bit garish, but we have to get through it. According to the coroner's report, not wanting to destroy the evidence, they took the whole goddamn toilet, or at least they took the bottom portion of the toilet. Anyway, A subsequent autopsy showed that the baby had died before being born due to a spontaneous miscarriage and that no illicit drugs were present. Watts was arrested 2 weeks later on accusations of abusing a corpse. Assistant prosecutor Louis Guarni argued to have the case move forward, which was agreed by the Warren Municipal Court Judge Terry Ivanek. But yeah, I mean, apparently the police were also okay with this, and they said, yeah, there's probably probable cause. It took Dennis Watson, the Trumbull County prosecutor who advised the grand jury ahead of its decision, said that his office believed Watts did not violate the Ohio criminal statute of abuse of a corpse as is alleged in the complaint. And please, I'm just saying this shit straight the fuck out. This is how I feel, but this is what it looks like to me, and I feel like it probably looks like this to anyone who comes upon this information. They wanted to get her for this abuse of a corpse because that's what they could get her for. And let's face it, this is a black woman who, in their mind, potentially tried to have an abortion, tried to have a little ghetto abortion. And it's like, fuck all the people involved in this process who tried to get this to actually a trial. Fuck you. Fuck you. I got the biggest fucking tomato for your ass. Go get fucked. I'm sorry. I know I'm like ending this shit hot, but it makes me so goddamn mad, dude. Like, not only do you want to take people's rights away, it's like, no. We have to like actually like enforce that thought to the point of trying to like put people in jail for this shit. It's just so backwards. It's just so backwards. Like where are you preserving life? Where are you protecting life in this conversation, dog? Where did it happen here? Please tell me. That's all. That's all. It's just crazy to have these kind of conversations happen in your own goddamn state where you goddamn live, and it sucks. It sucks dick, yo. Anyway, that's it. I'm done. I ran long, blowing hot air, hot steam. I'm sorry. Anyway, if you'd like to help out and support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Every donation helps. I shout you out at the top of the month. Say a name, plug a project if you like. Free ways to hit me up is isaiahnews1@gmail.com. And feel free to follow me or hit me up on all the socials. And hopefully subscribe to the YouTube. I'm really trying to get those numbers up. You get yourself to a certain kind of number, and guess what? You get to become monetized. So yeah, that is really what I'm aiming for. Not that, I'm like shell out shield nation, but it'd be nice. I'm always trying to make this bigger and better, for myself and hopefully the world. So I can keep on squeaking and squawking. So yeah, that's the aim, and hopefully you did like it. Hopefully you mean the thumbs up if you hit that, and hopefully leave a cool, quirky comment. I'm always trying to get those and talk back with you guys. I really do mean it. Hopefully you guys aren't mean. Hopefully you guys are nice. But if not, it's okay. I think I can take it. My skin is thick enough. Okay, I think I can take a critique. Maybe. Possibly, hypothetically, Marvel what if. Anyway, that's the episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.